it's me. Today's topic is going to be about these animated cartoon birds flying around in Lil Tecca's new music video, directed by Bennett, obviously. Shout out this guy on Instagram for recommending this tutorial, so here's the tutorial. There's a link down in the description with a free overlay included of these animated birds flying across the screen. I copied and traced the original birds to give it the exact same feel, and I used the exact same brush that he used because a lot of people want the exact same effect. That being said, I also have a $5 effects pack, which would be a whole lot of other animations in the same style or similar that I'm also including that you guys can purchase if you want to help me out. This tutorial is going to be about me tracing the bird, putting it into After Effects, making an animation, and then we can put it into Premiere Pro and Vegas Pro as an overlay so we can use it in our videos. Now, you don't have to make birds with this. Obviously, you can make cars, you can make blimps, you make whatever. But if you're just going to download the overlay and then use it, you can just use the timestamp on the screen right now and just skip to those parts. And yeah, so like I said, here we are in Animate. And like I said before, it's super hard to copy someone else's work, as in I can't draw exactly like Bennett. He has his own drawing style. You can't just copy someone's style. That being said, we're going to copy his style. So I'm just going to show you the way I made the overlays, which is pretty simple in Animate. I just took a picture of the video and I dragged it into Animate. There we go. Now I'm just going to break this down into the outline, the beak, the eyeball, and then like the colors, obviously. So this is my first day in Animate. I don't know how to animate anything, but technically we're only going to draw one frame, save it, and then I made the animation in After Effects. So to do that, we're going to need to, start animating. So I'm going to change the name of this layer to background, so I know not to mess with it. Background. And then I'm going to go over here and make a new layer. And I'm going to change this to outline because this is what we're going to draw the outline of the bird with. Now, I do have a drawing pad, but I'm not going to use it for this tutorial, so you guys can, get a feel for how it's going to be with the mouse. But if you want to use the same drawing pad, I can leave a link in the description. It's super cheap. It's $20. It's actually for video games, but it does the same thing. So to get the exact same stroke, which is the whole reason why we're in Animate, is to get this exact same stroke that he uses, because people like to be exactly like him. So you want to go over here to your right, click this little paintbrush tool, and then once this comes up, press this brush library button, and then go to artistic ink calligraphy 2, and make sure you double click it and make sure it shows up right here to use it. Now my fill stroke is black, which is what we need, and my stroke is 10.7. that's what I'm using, and I'm just gonna copy the outlines, which is the black outline, and I'm gonna trace over it. And this is pretty much how you copy. This is pretty much how I copied his drawing. Now, I don't know about copying everything, but I'm just going to show you how I made the animations, and I don't know about using them. I recommend making your own, because then you'll be different from everyone else and you'll be different from Bennett. But a lot of people like to do the exact same ones, so this is how I stole his drawing. So yeah, so now once you get to here, let me do all the thick lines first, because it's kind of the same thickness already. Let me just do all these thick lines. Okay. Now once you've done all the thick lines, you come to these little feathers right here that are thinner. I just changed the stroke, put it down a little bit, and then let's see if that's kind of the same. Yeah, that's kind of the same. Control Z, take that out, and then just trace it again. Okay, trace it like that. Okay, and I totally messed that one up, but we could just Control Z, go back, and then we'll finish the body. So the body is finished. Actually, I need to do the eyeball outlines and the beak outlines. Forgot about that. And it's just an easy trace, like we did in preschool. Just like that. And then the beak needs to be traced. Now you can, if you really examine it, he did a lot of paths on the small ones, but we don't really want to do all that. We just want quick and easy fixes and animations. So once you've finished your animation, or actually your drawing, I'm gonna mute the background layer by pressing this little eye button. You see where the eye is right here. I'm just gonna go straight down and mute it. And this is our rough outline. Now there's some places where we can have done better. What I like to do is I like to just go over again with a smaller stroke to give it more of a nice artistic feel. But if you want it to be nicer, you can go to the smoothing right here and change this to high, and then it'll be super smooth like that. Or what you can do is you can go over here and click this little selection tool or press V, and then just pick a path. Actually, I'm gonna press this sub selection tool A, pick a path, and then I like to just move it and connect it all so it looks nicer. So these, I'm just gonna move these right there so it looks nicer. And yeah, now take your time, make it however you want to make it. It doesn't have to be exactly like his, like I said before. And yeah, so we're just going to use this for tutorial's sake. You guys probably already have the overlay downloaded, but I just went like that. So now we need to do the colors. We're going to do the blue color first. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to title it blue color. And then it's going to say you can't have spaces, so I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to reopen the background layer. And instead of the paint brush, I'm going to use just a regular brush tool. And then right here where it says fill color, I'm just going to click the background, same color as his. Now I'll make sure the blue color is selected. I can uncheck the background layer, and I'm just going to draw over everything I made. But keep in between the outlines, keep inside the lines right here. But the inside lines, don't worry about it, because we can just, here, let me paint this first. So what I'm saying is you can go inside the lines, but stay inside the lines, but you can, doesn't have to be perfect, because on the layers right here I can just drag this down and it'll be inside the outline. Now I can just go over, and I'm probably speed this up with me coloring this, and I'll talk to you when this is done. Now that we're back, obviously I don't know how to color in the lines, but I'm going to show you how to fix that easily. Just on your outline layer, you see where this lock is, just press that little lock. Make sure your blue color is selected again, and go to the eraser tool, and then just erase everything that's outside of your outline. Just like that, and then your outline should be perfect. It's okay if you get some of the outline again, because we locked it, so it should not erase it. If you don't lock it, then you're going to erase your outline and mess everything up. So just make sure you lock it like that, and then there we go. So now we're close to our bird. Okay. So now that we're close to our bird, I'm just going to leave it like this for tutorial's sake. Now we need the beak and the eyeball. So make a new layer, rename it yellow beak. Spelled yellow wrong. Spelled beak wrong probably. Yellow beak, make sure it's underneath the outline. Go back to the regular brush tool. I'm going to uncheck the background layer. Regular brush tool, fill, paint drop the beak. Go back to, I'm going to uncheck the background layer, and I'm going to paint the beak in. Like so. And now we have a beak for our bird. And now the eyeball, I already know how it is. It's, if you look at it, it's just some more black right here. It's just some more black at the top. So if we look at it, I'm going to make a new layer, and then eyeball, name it eyeball black. Now you don't have to name these, but I found it really hard to keep track of it if I didn't name them. And so I'm going to go back to my paintbrush, make it black, and then I'm just going to paint it like that. Now if I go over it a little bit, like say like that, over the blue, I can just drag it underneath the blue color, and it'll be like so. So if you take a look at it, that's our bird. Now what I did is I didn't animate it in Animator because I have no idea how to use Animator. or Adobe Animate. So all I did is I saved this as a PNG image. It's actually a .gif, but all I did was go File, Export, Export Image, and you can see there's already a transparent background. And now there's no white in the eyeball, which you guys should probably use. But yeah, so make sure this is transparency right here selected. And I just click save, and then save it to wherever you want. And then I have bird up, bird down, and then I'm not going to save it because I already did. And so yeah, so once you save it, I put it into After Effects. So let's go into After Effects and just do that right now. So let me make a new composition. I make sure the frame rate is 24 frames per second. That's how, it's a standard, just make it 24 frames a second. Click OK. Now usually if you watch like animated TV shows, they animate it in 12 frames, but render in 24 frames, so they don't have to animate it 24 times. Does that make sense? So technically, if there's only 2 birds, so let's take a look. I have bird down or bird up, which is what we just made, and I also have bird down, which is what we made, which is how the bird flies, right? You have his wings up and his wings down. Now I'm gonna just center this to the middle right here, somewhere around the middle where it looks like it, and I'm gonna mute this and then center the bird down, unmute the top one, and I'm just gonna match their eyeballs, which is just an easy match. So now if you look, we have flying and these not flying. So like I said before, since they animated in the usual animation is in 12 frames and we have a 24 frame timeline, we're going to animate it in every 2 frames. So let's start with the bird down. I'm going to go 2 frames to the right, which I have it set on my mouse, so 1, 2. You can also use this button right here. I'm going to press Shift Control D and delete that. And then the bird up, I'm going to unmute that, go 2 frames, and then go to the right. So if you look at it, we have this little animation. I'm going to go 1, 2, 2 frames, Shift Control D, delete that. So if you look, we have this animation. Now, the fastest, I guess not the fastest way, but the easiest way is to just highlight both of these, press Control D on both of them. It'll copy, go to the timeline, and then just drag this, and then do that one more time. Go to the timeline, and it'll drag this. So now if you look at it, we have a fast animation. Like that. Now, obviously, the animation depends on your style. I think in the overlay, I actually did it 3 frames because it just looked better. So if you do 3 frames like this, here, let me delete all of these. And then let me duplicate it again. We get the 3 frames like this. Now, I used a script by Production Crate where it let me looped these individual layers. So I just rendered this part out and then looped it, and then that's how I made the animation. And that's how you can make animations for your music videos. But now I'm going to show you how to do it in Vegas and Premiere, which is just using my overlays. Thanks for watching for this part. So I'm going to show you 3 basic ways on how to use the overlays, either the ones you downloaded from me or the ones I show you how to create in Photoshop, Paint, Animate, whatever you did, and use After Effects to create your animations. So this is the free one, which is I'm pretty sure most people are going to use. It's 3 birds flying across the screen. Let's say this is taking too long, right? Let's say we're going to just use them as the 3 birds flying across the screen as some assets, right? Let's say it's taking too long. All we need to do is right click and speed up the duration. Let's say 150. Boom, and then they'll be faster. Now, obviously the wings are going to be faster, but that's what we're going to have to do. Now, some techniques, I would say they're not really techniques, but it's what we're going to have to do. Let's say they're still too slow, but you don't want to raise the speed up any higher because now they'll look weird, right? Which I guess that's cool too. But let's say you don't like the wings being too fast. Another technique is you can just go to effect controls, increase the scale, and then keyframe the position from the beginning. which is right here, and then to where you want it to end, let's say right here is where I want it, all the birds to be off screen, I can just keyframe the position to move like that. Now, the reason why you need to keyframe the position is because this happens. So let's see, if I wanted the position off here, oh, I guess I messed up my keyframes somehow. So, okay, so we look at that. Now they're all off the screen as fast as we can. Now you can change it back to, let's say, 100 speed. So the birds' wings aren't crazy, but they go off the screen fast. Now the reason you want to scale it up is because, let me revert back to scaling. The positioning won't work that good. See how it started right here? But yeah. So the next thing you can do is, let's say we want them to come from the top or from the bottom to the top. All you need to do is change the rotation just like that. And then let me unkeyframe the position. So we change it from the bottom to the top, we get this little edge. Change the rotation, I guess like this, but change the position off to where we can't see that. And then they'll go, and then pretty much here is where your cutoff point is. So let's see, this last one will get cut off. Now there's different techniques so we can solve that. We can have this right here, but then at the end we can keyframe the rotation, so it go right. So once it starts getting cut off, you can just rotate it like that, so it looks like it flies up instead of get cut off. So now we'll have that. That's some cool animations. So let's duplicate this, the same layer, and let's go to Effect Controls. We'll look up Color Balance, put the color balance on the top one, and then just change the color. Now the beaks change color, just so you know, but you can use change color. And then go to Flip, look up Flip on your Premiere Pro, horizontal. Now if we look at it, now we have two birds flying like that, like assets like that. And it's pretty much your creativity on what you want to do with these animations, but I kind of like those animations. I'll probably make that in the real pack. Okay, so I guess the last thing I'm gonna show you is how to make it into a transition, which is pretty much just scaling it up. So let me unkeyframe this and let me revert back to the original. So we have the original. Let's say I have a hard cut like I do right here, right? From here to here, hard cut. Now, a lot of people do is they like to use assets and then just scale them up so it looks like a transition into that. So it's kind of like a distraction. So if we scale this up already to about right here, if we look at it, we have this transition, but we want this to be scaled up right here. So I'm going to cut this, I'm going to move this to the end. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, but I pretty much just, let's say I want this to cover the whole screen during my transition. I just split the bird clip, moved it to where the hard cut is, and then it did that. Now, another thing I like to do is I like to keyframe the scale and the position so it looks like it zooms into the birds. So let's say I have the regular birds right here, but I have my transition over here at the cut, obviously. So I'm gonna keyframe my scale and my position, go to the end, and my scale is 412. So I'm gonna go to the first one, click 412. Sorry if I'm going too fast for beginners, but I have to go to the gym. And now if we look at that, that looks like a cool transition you guys can use with the assets. And then at the end, I'm gonna change it back. I'm gonna change the scale and the position, and then I'm gonna go back to about 100. So if we look at this, the birds go back, and let's say I want to move the position over here, so it'll look like that. So that's just a couple creative ways you can use the overlays. Thanks for watching, and it's Vegas part right now, so thanks for watching, guys, Premiere people, blah, 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 blah. The long-awaited Vegas tutorial is going to be a simple one. It's just going to be about the overlay I included. And yeah, let's just get to it. And so yeah, so my AVI files that had transparent backgrounds weren't working, so I just made green screen files for you Sony Vegas users, and you just need to do the same thing. So I'm gonna right click my track, insert video track. Here's some of the clips I'm gonna be using, and then I have one hard cut transition, that I'm gonna work on. So we're gonna use the free one that everyone's gonna be using. So I'm just gonna drag that onto our timeline on top of our clip. Now you'll see this ugliness where it kind of ghosts a little bit. All we need to do is right click, properties, disable resample, and then I like to uncheck maintain aspect ratio, and then check this. For some reason my AVIs weren't working, but once I checked that, they started working. So now we have a smooth animation, but you can keep it the way you did before. So now we just need to key it out, chroma keyer, drag that on, and then change the color to green. And then now we have our animation where we need to be. We can still see through the birds a little bit though, so I'm just gonna bring this down a little bit to where we can't see through it anymore, just like that. So now if you look, we have our animation assets going across the screen. But let's say this is too long, our animation is too long, we want it to be faster. Well, we can speed it up by holding control and then going to the end of the clip and make sure this little squiggly line comes up, and then just dragging it across to your left, and then now you have a faster animation. But let's say the birds fly too fast, you don't like how their wings fly, so let's press Control Z, but you still need them to go across the screen faster. Well, you can do that just by simply changing the transform tool or the pan and crop tool. So go to the green screen layer, select pan and crop right here, and then we're just going to make a couple keyframes. Make sure the sync cursor is selected. We're going to make a couple keyframes, go to the beginning, there's already a keyframe, and then go to the middle where all the birds are on screen, and then we can just, let's see, to all the birds are on screen, I'm going to make another keyframe to right here, and then let's say right here is where I want the birds to be off screen. I'm just going to move my pan and crop tool to the left, so if we take a look at it, they should fly faster once we hit this keyframe. But now let's say we don't want that keyframe to go, so we'll move it right here to this. So if we check this out, we can fix this little edging right here just a little bit. There we go, and which is gonna kind of look the same as last time. So a way past this is we can zoom in, and then we can start messing with our transform tools, or I mean our pan and crop tools. So if we zoom in a little bit, obviously the birds are going to be bigger, but we can manipulate how fast they want. So let's say I want the birds to be gone by this point. We can just pan and crop move right here, and in the beginning have the pan and crop stay right there. So if you look, they'll start right here, which is what we don't want. We want it to move once all the birds are on screen, like that. Okay, and then they can move across the video, and all the birds aren't on screen yet, so we make one more keyframe to about right here. And yeah, sorry, it's been a while since I used Vegas, and then they move across the screen. Okay, now let's say we want to change the color of the birds. That's easy, just look up color and then color corrector secondary, drag that onto your green screen clip, and then you can just mess with the rotate hue, and then now you have different color birds just like that. Let's say I want those, so if you look at it, we have different color birds. Now let's say I want a transition for these birds. Well, we're going to need a hard cut in our clips like we do right here, from here to here. So our transition point is right here. I'm going to make a marker. And the technique I use for this is I like to zoom in into the bird so it covers most of the screen, and then zoom out. So we're going to go back to our pan and crop. Let me reset all of this to normal. And we're going to animate the pan and crop so it makes somewhat of a transition. So our transition should be right here. I'm going to zoom in to the middle bird, zoom in a lot like this, and then I'm going to go to the end and then reset to default. And I'm just going to make this keyframe smooth. So if you look at it, it should do this, transition, and go out. Sorry, there's 2 transitions in this clip, but if we start right here, transition, and to go out. Now let's say I want 2 birds. I can just right click, insert video track, hold control, drag it up. I'm gonna take off the color correction off the top one, and then I'm gonna flip it. So if we say, if you look at this one, it should be, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I took the color correction off the bottom one. Well, anyways, it's still the same thing. So on the top one, I'm gonna look up flip, right? Or how would that work? No, I'm gonna go to, sorry, I'm gonna go to pen and crop. I'm gonna reset this again. Go to the beginning, default, and then this width right here, I'm just gonna put a minus in front of it, enter, and it should flip. Now we have birds upside down flying from the second part of the screen. And then I'm going to change the height. That's why it went upside down. Back to that. They're linked somehow, so how do I unlink them? Aha. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. So this was checked, so make sure this is unchecked if you want to flip the birds. And then I have keyframes, so let me change these keyframes. Here, let me delete this one. So now if you look at the birds, we'll have them coming from both sides of the screen. You can also rotate the birds to make it come from the bottom. So let's say we want the birds to do this. If we look at it, Sony Vegas is a hard program, okay? If we look at it now, wait, sorry guys. We rotate this. Okay, move that right there. So now if you look at it, we can see cutoff. So you just need to change the cutoff to like that, and then they'll come diagonal from the screen. And then we just need to zoom it in a little bit so they don't get cut off. Like that. It looks better. Nice. And anyways, you guys can use these assets for however much you like. This is just an example of what we can do with these. Let me know if you need help in the comments. Let me know if you want me to make more of these. And thanks for watching.